Hello everybody, I am Tiffany and today I am bringing you another movie review. Let's go! Been watching a ton of movies lately, so I should have a lot more movie reviews coming your way. I have a bunch lined up and I'm super excited to share with you all my thoughts and feelings on all of these movies, old movies, new movies, anything. I'm just excited. I'm on a movie kick and a book kick and it's just wonderful. They're both at the same time and it's fabulous. The movie I am reviewing today is actually a movie that is based off a book series that I absolutely love, which is the main reason I went to see this movie. And the movie I am reviewing today is The Darkest Minds. Like I said, this is based off a book series, The Darkest Minds, by Alexandra Bracken. This series is a phenomenal book series, and if you haven't read it yet, I really suggest you do. I love Alexandra Bracken's work. She's amazing, fantastic. This is the book series that really started getting me on my reading kick. I had just finished Marie Lu's books, and then I decided to pick up this one, and especially after that one, I really just wanted to explore more books and see what else is out there. I was really excited when I heard they were going to make a Darkest Minds movie. Now that being said, the movie itself, it was okay. I think that the actors did a fantastic job, and they each had a very good understanding of the personality of their character. So I felt like the casting for it was fantastic. But the movie in a whole just didn't do it for me. It felt like one of those that was so close. It was so close to being fantastic, but it fell short. I did go in with lower expectations, though. I didn't go in with super high standards for this movie, especially how under the radar this movie was going. I did not have high expectations, and it met the expectations that I pretty much had. It did exactly what I thought it was going to do. Is it a fun movie? Yeah, it's fun. It's not downright awful. I'm not sitting there completely cringing and torturing myself. I don't feel like that towards the movie. Maybe other people do, but I don't. I just don't think it was super spectacular. It had moments that showed what it could possibly be, but they were only moments, and then the rest of it just did not work. The book series, though, is fantastic. If you haven't read the book series, I really suggest you at least do that because it is incredible and all the characters are awesome and it's amazing and I just love it. I love this series so much and I will recommend it to anyone because it's that good. Even though this isn't a movie that I completely enjoyed, I still recommend that you go give it a shot yourself because like I always say with any video, you don't know how you're going to feel about the movie until you go and see it yourself. It's one thing me saying that maybe I don't like this movie or it didn't live up to its potential, but it's another thing for you to go and watch it yourself and form your own opinion on it. Because for all you know, you could love this movie and think it's the best thing on the planet. That's awesome! That's great that you love it! I just personally wasn't in love with this movie. Let's get to some statistics for you guys though. This movie has a 5.5 out of 10 on IMDb. Fives are not very good on IMDb, and I think maybe it deserves a little tiny bit higher. I gave it probably a 5.8 instead of a 5.5. That's a very small difference. I do agree with the lower rating on it. It didn't connect to me personally. The parts that I was ready to get emotional about, I didn't feel the emotion that I should feel for this movie. For those of you who want to know the cast, it actually does have a pretty decent cast. It has Amanda Stenberg, who's done a ton of young adult adaptations. She was in Hunger Games as Rue, Everything recently. So she is the young adult queen of movies. It also has Mandy Moore, who did a fantastic job in it. It has Bradley Whitford, Harris Dickinson, Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones. It has a really good cast, and like I said, the actors actually did a very good job of embodying their characters, but the chemistry sometimes between them and their interactions weren't always smooth and flowing like it should have been. For those of you who have no idea what in the world The Darkest Minds is about, this follows a group of kids in a dystopian world where a disease swept through the nation and started killing a bunch of kids, but the ones who survived ended up getting these mysterious powers. They're separated into categories based on their powers, and then they're sent off to camps in order to keep an eye on these kids because the government is afraid of them all. You follow your main character Ruby, who is one of the most dangerous kids with these powers, even though the government doesn't necessarily know that, it's a secret, and she ends up breaking out of one of the camps and teams up with a bunch of kids that also have powers, and they all go on a quest to find a safe place for kids like them. It's overall a really, really, really good story. All of the characters are fun and lovable, like I said, for the books at least. So go give this a shot. If you don't watch the movie, at least read the books, because the books are fantastic. That is really all I can tell you without spoiling you, though, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the non-spoilery section here. Come back when you watch the movie, and maybe when you've read the books too, and we can compare and contrast in awesomeness together. Alright, have an awesome day, non-spoilery people. Goodbye! I just don't know what to think overall with this movie. I didn't feel a super strong connection throughout it. There are certain moments in the books that make you really sad and really want to cry because they're so heartbreaking. And in the movie, I didn't feel that at all. I do like how they changed the timeline a little bit. I didn't mind that because the opening is seeing Ruby very young before she does everything to her parents and accidentally wipes their memory. You see a little bit of her life before that. You see her interacting with her parents a little bit, and you get a little bit of their bond before that is just ripped apart from her. But I feel like even though the timeline change didn't bug me a lot, it did still make the scene lose its impact in a way. I didn't feel the emotional punch when she comes in the next morning and her parents don't remember her. It was still sad, but in the books, I believe it's a flashback. You don't know what happens completely right away. When it happens, you just get a punch in the gut. And you're just feeling for her, and you're just saying, Ruby, you're gonna be okay? I'm so sorry this happened to you. But in this, because it felt so rushed, especially throughout, that's a big thing with this movie. It felt very, very rushed. I didn't have the emotional impact of that. I think Mandy Moore did a really good job. I don't know if this movie's actually gonna continue into a trilogy. I know they're trying to, but I don't think it's going to. But I do wish I could see more of Mandy Moore. She did great with that character, I felt like. I loved Kate in the books. You're not sure of her at first, but then as time goes on, of course, you know that she's actually a very genuine person and really wants to help these kids out. And I think Mandy Moore is actually a very perfect fit for this character. Her personality is awesome. She embodied the character very, very well. I just wanted more time. I wanted more time with Mandy Moore. That is something this whole movie had, was it felt completely rushed. And I think that happens a lot when you try to adapt books into movies, because the books have so much content and allows you to really drag stuff out and explore it and use that. But a movie has to be so condensed into a time constraint, and they don't let the audience just sit with moments. That was the problem, is that it just kept going and going and going and going. You'd have a moment, and then as soon as you're about to feel something, it's just not there anymore, and it's just, wait, come back, wait, I want to experience that moment again, hold on, give me a chance to digest. And when done right, like the Hunger Games, for example, it doesn't feel rushed. But to me, this one definitely felt 100% rushed. I really liked Chubbs. Chubbs was my absolute favorite character. Skyland Brooks is the actor that played him. Fantastic job. He saved a lot of those scenes. There were times where scenes were very much falling flat, insanely, and then Chubbs would just make a comment and it actually made me laugh. His timing was great. He was a perfect Chubbs. They did change him into a green, but it didn't bug me as much because he was so good as Chubbs. The girl who played Zoo was probably my second favorite. I think she really did embody Zoo as well. She was exactly how I pictured her, which was great. I just wish she had a bit more screen time. Where Chubbs, you got plenty of. Chubbs just made this movie for me. That scene where they're already at East River and he's gardening with his fellow companion and he's trying to explain peppers to him. Oh my god, that scene made me die so much. That actually made me laugh out loud, and I was just so proud of Chubbs because he did fantastic and he's amazing. Amandla Stenberg, I think, did a really good job too. She wasn't my favorite character, but she still did a really fantastic job. I think just in the books too, I liked Chubbs and Zoo a lot, and Ruby was great and Liam was great, but those were my two favorites. I think the problem with her emotional moments was just, again, that it felt rushed to me. I think that if those moments were dragged out and you really got to know Ruby more, then I would have really felt it. I just still wasn't connecting with her enough to, when she breaks down, like over her family, for example, when she sees them in the house and she's about to go in and then she doesn't. I felt a little bit, but I didn't feel it as much as I should have. To me, that should be a heartbreaking moment of you feeling so so bad for this girl and everything that she's gone through. And because it felt really rushed, you couldn't really feel that way towards her. And then Liam as well did a great job playing Liam, but the problem with that was Liam and Ruby had not enough chemistry for me. They didn't feel like a couple. And what makes Liam and Ruby is Liam and Ruby together. They are one of my favorite book couples ever because they are so awesome and warm to each other and have so much spark between each other. And in the movie, I felt none of that. Their banter that they had just felt awkward a little bit. And the scene where they're by the van and Ruby comes out in the dress that Zoo got her and he kind of makes a comment about going to prom, it just was awkward. It didn't feel right to me. I wasn't laughing and going, oh my gosh, this is so cute. I was going, okay, this is a very awkward conversation right now. I wanted to feel the lovey feelies and I wasn't feeling the lovey feelies. The moment that I really felt something between them is after the moment with Clancy where he tries to do stuff to her and lays a hand on her. And seeing Liam get protective when she tells him that in the movie, that gave a spark. That protectiveness. But there was no lovey-dovey prior to that. I just felt the protectiveness. They felt more like friends. And if they stayed as friends, it wouldn't have been awkward, but they were trying to force the romance when the romance wasn't happening yet. And that really sucks because it messed up the ending. The very, very end where Ruby wipes his memory. That scene in the book is the most heartbreaking scene because they have been through so much and they are finally somewhat together and she wipes his memory in order to keep him from being with the Children's League because he hates it. And I just got pissed in the book and that broke my heart and I was tearing up. It was intense. In the movie though, because you didn't have that chemistry that you have in the books, it didn't have that much of an impact. He was saying, I'm in love with you, but I didn't feel like you were in love. In the books, I felt like he was in love with her already. In the movie, I felt none of that. And it sucked because I didn't have that emotional punch that I wanted with that scene so much. I think the guy who played Clancy actually did a really good job. Patrick Gibson is his name. I don't know if other people agree because he does come off very friendly and warm, but to me, that's how Clancy is. At the beginning, you kind of like Clancy until he slowly starts getting creepy because you're not supposed to completely expect he's a bad guy until later on. That's the point of Clancy, and I felt like the actor did a really good job of transitioning that. I don't know how I felt overall about the eye color. It was kind of cool, but it kind of defeated the purpose to me. You have to be tested to figure out which color you are, and if they just see it by your eyes, it confuses me. I feel like someone would report that a person is an orange if they see that. I really doubt Ruby's been able to hide that for that long. I personally didn't feel like it fit for the book. Part of the fun is figuring out what each person is without seeing the eye color. You just kind of guess and then you figure it out as you go along. Let's quickly talk about this ending. I got really pissed with this ending because I did not know that they were gonna change it on me. And I should have assumed that they were going to, but I was still really, really pissed. The ending in the book is one of the best endings I've read. It caught me completely off guard. Alexandra Bracken was then known for me for her endings and how she was going to end a book. I got scared when I was reaching the end of a book with this author right now. Because in the book, what happens is Chubbs has a letter from his dead friend, Jack, and goes to deliver it. And Jack's father shoots him. And it's this crazy moment because you think you're going to have this nice, sweet moment at the end before they ride off into the sunset and live happily ever after for now. But the fact that Chubbs gets shot, you are caught completely off guard and just going in circles like, wait, hold up, what just happened right now? Wait, no, Chubbs can't die. I panicked. I thought Chubbs was dying in that book. Chubbs does get hurt again, but in the movie, they completely took that element out. The camp gets attacked and then Chubbs almost burns to death, and then she calls the Children's League in order to save him. That did not have as much of an impact. I want the ending from the book, because the ending from the book was absolutely incredible. It caught me off guard. This one, I just felt kind of towards. I was just like, there's no shock value. You don't want Chubbs to die, but you know he's going to survive. In the book, you did not know if Chubbs was going to survive. It was scary. And maybe you can go, well, Tiffany, you read the book. You know he's going to be okay. But you can still, for the audience, for people who haven't read the book, have this impact of not knowing if Chubbs is going to be okay. That creates an element of mystery and keeps you wanting to watch the rest of the movies and figure out if he's okay, if anything else. They took away that surprise element, and it made me really, really sad. Out of any book adaptation, I do not feel like you should change the ending. I know they do, but personally, the ending is the most important part. If you deviate from the book enough that it's just completely different, it can ruin your whole franchise, because all the great stuff you have in the next book, sometimes you can't really use based off of the ending of the first book, and then people don't want to go see the next movie, because guess what? It's going to be nothing like the next book. You know how many books out there are so great, but then the ending sucks, and so the book is considered to be horrible. But it's not horrible, just the ending is horrible. But people stick on that. And if that ending is not powerful enough, then it doesn't sit well with the audience. And I was just mad that they changed a really good ending. They had something there that was a great way to end this and lead on to the next film, and they didn't take it. I don't like book to movie adaptations ending differently than the book. That's a big pet peeve of mine. If you're gonna change the ending, it better be on the same level or better than the book ending. And that's very, very, very hard to do. That is really all I have to say about this movie. If you haven't seen it and you want to give it a chance, I suggest you go and just see it. Like I said, it's not a movie you're gonna sit there dying and wishing you never went to see. It's just not your top great, awesome movie. And you never know, you may really actually enjoy it. If you haven't read the books, go read the book series. Alexandra Bracken, you are an amazing author. And everybody who did work really hard in this movie, everybody did a great job. And if they end up doing Never Fade, I will be going to see that one as well and see how it turns out. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to check them out for you. Also, if you want updates on what's going on in my life, go check out my blog. There's a link to it in the description below. It'll flash across the screen here. That just gives you updates on video stuff and then acting stuff if you feel like reading that, because I don't know, some people may enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining me. Have an awesome day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. All right. Goodbye! Wah!